previous video we looked at how to move and copy sheets. In this section we're going to look at inserting, deleting and hiding workbooks. So one method of inserting workbooks we've already seen in the previous video, although it wasn't explained. So one simple way to insert sheets is to use this plus button here. As you can see, the tooltip is telling me that will generate a new sheet. So let's go ahead and press the button. We've now created a sheet 7. That's most likely it has skipped a number because a previous sheet 6 was moved to a different workbook. Regardless, we now have a new sheet. If we wanted to, we could rename it as sheet 6 and we can start populating data into the sheet. The other way to insert a new worksheet is to right click anywhere on the sheet tabs and go to Insert. Using this menu we have the option to insert other types of objects such as a chart. Effectively, these are the only two things you would want to insert into your workbook, a worksheet or a chart. We'll look at charts in more detail later on in the video series. These options here relate to very old versions of Excel pre-2000, and none of this functionality is of any use to us in our modern workbooks. So worksheet or work chart. In this situation, I just want to add a worksheet. Double-clicking on the worksheet has now created sheet 8. The next thing I might want to do with my sheets, now that I have rather a lot of them, is to delete some of them. And again, as with many of the other functions, I can delete one individually by right-click and using the delete function, or I can select multiple sheets, right-click and delete multiples. There's another option that I may want to explore when working with my worksheets, and say for example sheet 4 may have some valuable data on it. 1, 2, 3 clearly is not valuable data, but just for the sake of this example we've added 1, 2, 3 and we want to completely hide sheet 4, that is, preserve the data but hide it from view. So I can right click and use the hide command. As you can see, sheet 4 is no longer visible, but the data is still there and it is still within our workbook. To retrieve it, I right click anywhere on the sheet tabs and use the unhide command. Sure enough, there's my sheet 4. It is also worth noting that that unhide command will be grayed out if there's no hidden sheets. Similarly with any of the other functions, I can hide multiple sheets simultaneously. Although to unhide, I may have to do it one by one. In the same way that we discussed how hiding columns and rows can be confusing to users who do not understand the workings of your workbook, similarly hiding sheets should be used selectively and with caution. If your data has formulas that links to a hidden sheet, a user trying to use your worksheet may be confused as to where your data is actually stored. This may be something that you want to achieve deliberately, but if it isn't something you're doing deliberately, don't hide that data. Allow the user to see it if it is not confidential and it is not going to harm that user in any way to have access to it. So that covers our chapter on inserting and deleting and hiding worksheets.